Kay here with Big Dreams Designs. On a previous video, we designed a in the hoop applique bunting flags for a baby's nursery. And on this video, we're going to stitch it out. An important thing when setting up to do this project, I have a piece of water-soluble stabilizer, not the plastic film type. This is the non-woven type. You'll often find it for where it's used for freestanding lace. And this is just a large piece, and I have it taped down here to my table to make it as tight as possible. The key thing is this cannot come loose in our large jacket back hoop. So we're going to make this as tight as possible. I have also placed some double-sided tape around the hoop. This is the upper hoop. So what we're going to do is, now that I have the tape on it, I'm going to take my hoop and I'm going to stick it right here on the stabilizer, and that's going to help hold it once we get the other hoop and get it in. Okay, so now we're going to remove these tape. We're going to grab our bottom hoop and we're going to hoop our design here. And another thing that we can do to ensure that this does not come loose, we're going to pull this as tight as possible. And another trick I've learned, you can use these T-pins. They're used for quilting and such. They're just, I don't know if you can see them, but they're the pins. They have the little T on the top. Now you can also take this and run these along the hoop, and that is going to hold that taut. See, here's a spot here that has the capability of loosening. So again, we're going to stick another pin just inside the stabilizer. We're going to pull it tight as possible. And then we're going to just run it in between the two. Okay. Go through each space that doesn't have the tape. Okay. So we're just running it between the top of the two. Okay, and then you could test it. It's pretty taut. And I'm going to put one more over here in this corner. Check this one. We just basically, we're pulling on this to see if it pulls the inner part of the what is within the inside of the hoop. If it moves, it gets pinned. Okay. Alright, there we go. Now I have also attached the table to the embroidery machine, and we will do our stitch out. Alright, we're at our machine now. I have put the design into the machine, put in the corresponding stops for the steps, and we're going to do the first step. The first step is the placement stitch. Okay, I have my top fabric laid down. I also spray basted and attached a piece of cutaway stabilizer, and I'm going to float that underneath this hoop. That's going to allow the flag to be more stiff. And so now we're going to do our tack down stitch. Okay, we've done our tack down stitch, and the next step that it is already done is the placement stitch for the inner fabric. So we're going to lay down our fabric for the inner applique and go to the next step. Okay, after that last step, I went in and I removed the fabric from I removed the cutaway from around the edge on the back, and I trimmed the fabric around this inner applique here. And the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to do an inner satin stitch. Okay, we have the inner satin stitch done. Now what I'm going to do here, I wanted to take a minute to show you the back. I have trimmed that cutaway stabilizer to around the edges. That's going to make it easier to trim later. Now the next step is another basting stitch to attach the backing fabric. So we're going to use some basting spray and attach that. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to remove this extra fabric on the front. So we'll go from there. Okay, we've attached our backing fabric. I will go in and trim this out. And then, not quite sure if you can see, but right here is our placement stitch for our ribbon holes. Now this can be very tedious to try to cut out, but if someone can think of an easier way to do this, then that would be awesome. If not, here's how I do it. What I end up doing is I just take my seam ripper, make sure I'm just grabbing the fabric, and then I rip along the one side. And then I'll take my tweezers, hold it up, and then trim it out, and then just go layer by layer, trimming out the top fabric, this stabilizer, and the backing fabric. And once I do all that, I will show you what it looks like. All right, this is our final step. I have cut the holes out where the ribbon goes. I've also changed the bobbin. I wound a bobbin with the same color of thread that I will be using to go around the edges. I have another video showing you the bobbin winder I use for this machine and how I go about doing that. And I also placed another layer of water soluble on top of here. So it has some more substantial stuff as it goes around the edges and in those ribbon holes. So this is our final two steps. We'll be doing the satin stitch around the ribbon holes and around the outer edge. Okay, we finally have it all stitched out, and I want to let you know a little secret. About an inch before I was due to finish this, I ran out of bobbin, and I didn't wind two of the colored thread bobbins. I'm gonna cheat. I have these fabric markers and voila, it's yellow, not white. All right, that's the back. Here's their front. I'm gonna go and trim all this off and we will put it all together and I will show you the finished product. Things that I learned on this project. I learned I would not make a bunch of these at a time. What I would do, I would literally either use some kind of cutter, my silhouette machine or something to pre-cut these, because cutting these little holes out accurately, I haven't figured it out how to do it easier. And it took me quite a while just to trim out those without shifting anything in this hoop. But to pre-cut these pieces would definitely speed up the process. So, but we've had a successful stitch out and I hope you've learned something. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching.